Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Karina, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. So the format of today's episode is going to be some horse content. I took some footage from a few days ago, including pouring down rain, and I took some footage this morning of walking out to the barn when the forecast was for 8 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very cold for us. I understand it was actually 18 degrees, and I did mention that. It hasn't got any warmer, and I'm sad to say that one of my hoses did freeze since I went out and fed this morning. And then I'm going to talk about some knitting content. So I'm going to show you the other footage first, and then we'll get to the knitting content. So there was a great blue heron that was just at the pond end of our creek, and it flew off to the right. Let's see if I can see it. We're having a lot of rain right now, so the pond is definitely up. The creek is higher than I've seen it in a while. So let's see if we can find the blue heron. My vet was just here, so the fence is down. I don't see it anywhere. Just see a lot of rain. Of course, as soon as I turn the camera off, then I'll see it. And we'll have missed a pretty cool shot. Oh. There's O, coming, probably fully recovered from his sedation, so I'm gonna let him out. There's Bragi. He didn't have to get sedated because he didn't need his teeth done. Okay, no blue heron that I can see. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Karina, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. Today is January 11th. It is about 5:15 a.m. and I'm on my way out to the barn to feed the horses. This video is really in preparation for my regular episode, even though if you watched Vlogmas and my 12 days of Christmas, you saw this is how I often started the podcast. We've had a lot of rain. So when I'm coming up on the creek here, it'll be pretty full. There's actually stars out. I don't know. See that, but probably interference of headlamp, and it's pretty dark sky. Anyway, we're coming up to the creek. Like I said, we've had a ton of rain, and we're preparing for a cold snap. Like really cold for us, down into single digits over the next several nights. This is the outlet side, quite full. The inlet side still in its banks. There's the house. The Christmas tree was taken down last weekend. I've heard some people refer to this time of year, this kind of period, as SADVENT, and I guess I kind of get it. I've been feeling a little low on the emotional scale, not particularly motivated. I expect that, the time of deep rest and introspection to happen around the solstice, but really it happens in mid-January. So I'm going to give myself another week to kind of marinate and see what happens next. The horses are over there by the tree, which you can't see, but I can see the reflection of their eyes. They both had their annual vet appointments this week and also farrier. So they have had some interaction and, some training in that respect. I'm pleased to say that Bragi did really good. So I'm going to end this video here and talk to you later. Good morning, everyone. I expected it to be face-biting cold out here. The forecast says it's going to get down to 9 degrees at 8 a.m. It is 6:30 a.m. and the porch says it's about 21 degrees. Randy said it was 18 when he drove in. I guess it doesn't feel that bad right now. I left the hoses at the barn running overnight, so hopefully that worked. And I brought the beet pulp into the house to soak rather than leaving it in the tack room, because the mistakes I've made in the past, turn on my headlamp, are not leaving the hoses running and then waiting for days for it to thaw out, and also leaving the soaked beet pulp in the tack room, feed for horses, by the way, and then having it froze solid. So not helpful with the feeding routine. You can see the neighbors still have their lights up, and I appreciate that. We took ours down. It was time, but I really appreciate the neighbors keeping theirs up. So, duck under the fence. I gave the horses plenty of hay to eat overnight to help them keep warm. Hopefully they did that. Horses are well adapted to cold. They evolved kind of on the Russian steppe, I suppose you could say. So they have a couple strategies, evolutionary strategies. One is that they heat themselves from the inside out by eating. And I do see them over there by their hay pile that I left last night. They also slow their metabolism, which I read recently. There's plenty of hay in Bragi stalls, so I feel fairly confident they did not go hungry or get too cold. And the other piece is their coats. Their hair coats are well adapted. Odin is hairy like a yak. Bragi has a thinner hair coat, but he seems to do okay. I do have to feed him more, though. So speaking of feeding, I'm here in the barn. I'm going to do just that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that footage that I showed you. I have my handy little remote thing. I feel so sophisticated with podcasting right now. I mean, this is probably actually more than just my normal vlog where I just hit the record button and you see what you get, but I'm actually putting some thought into it. That's what doing Vlogmas and the 12 Days of Christmas has helped me with, is understanding a little bit more about editing and putting together content. And of course, I have lots of podcaster influencers that I watch. A list of those will be in the show notes. So, first order of business is the Frog All My Knits 2024 that I want to show you. Actually, first, the first order of business is, what am I wearing? It's cold. I am wearing the Barocco Crossvine sweater. It's made out of a chunky alpaca blend, a Barocco blend. I have a bit of a strange outfit, although it's probably fairly normal. Because I am wearing leggings for the trips out to the barn, so let me just show you that. I put on a short kind of summer dress over it, just to kind of make it an outfit rather than just me being in leggings and a sweater. So, which I'm at home. It's perfectly acceptable, but I like to dress. So, the other thing I am wearing is, I don't know if I can show you this without being really awkward, but I'm wearing some socks that I wore out, that I made out of Patton's Croy. And this, believe this is my first pair of successful socks. So this is, and it's hard to see, but I will put a link in the show notes of what it is. This is called the it's asymmetrical cable. So there's cables coming up the outside of each sock, and the inside just down to where the gusset is on these. So it actually has a left and right. I don't particularly love that because I don't like when they wear in that manner, but it's fine. The socks that I made are just a little bit long, but that's okay. And I'll talk more about length of socks here in a minute. But back to the Frog My Knits 2024. So this is the cowl that I have going on, and let me show you where I started. So this sweater, you will see, is in two pieces now. I have frogged back, or actually I just separated the two. I haven't actually done any frogging yet. Separated the top from the bottom because I want to make the bottom more red. Less red, more brown. This was a bottom-up sweater, hence the bottom that I need to actually wind up. I will reuse this yarn for sure. I have plenty of brown skein, so I'm not worried about running out of that. And I have enough of this fromage colorway, which, by the way, the fromage and the truffle are from a local sheep farmer in the Skagit Valley. So Harmony Fields, they grow lamb, obviously, lamb for meat, and then also they have dairy sheep that they make cheese. So that's pretty cool. And they also have, I believe, an herb garden. So Skagit Valley Yarns, here is the label. It's a more rustic yarn, which is fine. I mean, typically I wear sweaters like this. I like them a little bit oversized, and then I put them over something. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to restart the knitting part of this. I have other projects in the works, and frankly, I was a little bit discouraged by how red the bottom part of the sweater was, and I wanted it to be brown. So I will put a photograph in, I'm not sure where I'm going to put that yet. So I haven't quite figured out how to say, oh, well, I'll just put a photograph here. Maybe I'll figure that out. Okay. What is next? So I have been working on, let me show you something I haven't been working on. Let's do this in kind of reverse order. So for my morning knitting, I was doing this Colorwork scarf, and it's upside down. This is a seamless cast on. Is it Joanne's Magic? I don't feel like that's not right. It's somebody's Magic cast on. I will try to remember to put that in the show notes. I've talked about it before. And then the middle section, or the above section, is all sorts of color work. So more kind of holiday, winter, so trees. And I think this is just kind of a festive design. These might be window panes. I think these are sort of mountains. These are snowmen, and these are reindeer. So I hope you can see those. I still plan to work on this. In fact, I think I'm going to work on this for an upcoming knit along that I'll talk about in a future episode, because I'm a patron of the podcaster. It's the Bakery Bears, and they host several knit alongs a year. One is SADVENT. and one is Sakaween, and then there's also their Advent one. So their next one is Velvet, and I don't think I'm going to knit the pattern that is being offered. I will keep the pattern, but since I have this project on, I will just knit along in this and not really participate in the actual like official contest. So these are on, I think these are size 3 Chagu red lace. I knit magic loop, and the scarf is going to be about 5 feet long, so I probably have at least 4.5 feet to go on this. So what am I in a rush to finish? I am working on a pair of knee socks. So I compared this to a commercially made sock that I like to wear. That's a knee sock, and it is, you can see, at the place where I have started the heel flap right here. So I actually don't need this to measure any longer, and I just started the heel flap this morning. I have to put my glasses on to count stripes. I did weigh the yarn because I was thinking I was going to have to do the foot in a different yarn because this is an Advent that has 24 stripes. So I think this is 20 stripes if I counted right. And I have, when I started the heel flap, I had like over 80 grams of yarn left. So I'm thinking as long as the striping sequence doesn't start over, I may have enough for the foot. And hopefully enough of the contrast color for the toe. This is a Freckled Whimsy Advent skein, which I obviously did not really knit too much during Advent season. I used Chagu red lace, size 0, which is 2 millimeter. And I cast on, I think, 56 stitches. I have kind of long, skinny feet, and I have checked to make sure this will fit over my calf, and it is plenty of stretch to that. What else? So this project is what I have been in a kind of an all-fired hurry to finish. So this shawl, this was an Advent shawl, and I started using the Polka Dot Creek Advent. Let me see if I can do this because I put this on a really long, these are Addies on I think 150 centimeter, which is probably about 80 inches of, and of course I'm in the middle of a row, which you're never supposed to do, but I always do. And I'm working on a wrong side row, so I'm just doing this all wrong. But here is what it looks like. So the first several stripes that you see are kind of offset. Those are definitely the Advent skeins. And then I got into this longer section here where it goes all the way around. And I'm finding that my Advent skeins, they're not enough, even though the pattern is by Tellybeans Knits. The pattern is called Grand Opening, which I believe is available for purchase now. Well, actually it always was. Actually, the whole pattern is available for purchase now as rather than as clues coming out every single day. Anyway, once this started going all the way, both sides, there's about, I don't know, I think I'm going to end up with like 300 and some stitches on the needle after this section. I was finding that the Advent skeins didn't have enough yarn, or maybe I picked some scraps that really didn't have enough yarn. By the way, I'm on day 17 of a 25-day pattern, and it's just taking longer. I have been knitting fairly monogamously on this morning and my early morning knitting, and in the evening I've been doing my sock knitting during like if I take a break from work during the day or have a Zoom meeting. So this has really turned into more of a scrappy project. I kind of just started adding other scraps to the ball, like it's a magic knot ball.
I don't care if there's knots in there. Usually if they poke themselves on the outside, I poke them back in, and it's fine. Every other stripe is a garter stripe, which I really like. That's fun. I don't have to think too hard. Don't have to count too much. And then of course this one's really easy to see. You can see the lace in this lighter color and then this pink one. I'm trying to stay kind of in the pinks and purples colors. I mean, there is some blue in this one. I think that was a Rowan mini. And maybe a little bit of brown to kind of tie it together. So again, and I'm kind of looking at my yarns that I have left, and I'm just kind of picking them as I go. Quite honestly, I have this one ball. This is Legacy Fiber Arts from a pair of socks I made. I did want to talk about this, about socks here in a second. And I also have this kind of lighter color that I may just tack on to this. Actually, I think I will do this. This one's going to make a pretty big stripe. I'm going to leave that out so I remember to talk about it. I'm not sure. This is kind of the bag. This is a Rowan mini bag. I'm not sure what I have left of the pinks and purples. I mean, I have this pink. I have this one that's a very much smaller one, so I'm going to end up tacking that on to something. This one's kind of purpley blue, so I have mixed feelings. This was from a Scrappy Advent exchange. I have this pink, which I think is really pretty. I have this kind of silver. I feel undecided about that. I have this neutral kind of cream color I feel very neutral about. Ha, that was a pun. I didn't mean to do that. I have these colors, but these are more verging on red, so not sure. I have this one, which is a, I think it's a knit pick stroll. I have this one that I can tack on to something. So, and then I have this purple, which is Rowan. And then this one's kind of a darker purple. So maybe if I put those two together, might be okay. So I just need to make sure I have, what I say, 17, so 8 more to go. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do. Especially if I use this one here in there. I think I can do this. So maybe I'll keep those out. So what typically from 100 gram skein of fingering weight yarn, I can get 2 pairs of socks out of that. So that's why I think I'm going to be able to get the knee socks, including the whole leg and the foot from that Advent skein, which is 100 grams. I think that's all I want to say about that. So what else? I was trying to think of what else I talk about during my regular podcast. So this is my first regular podcast episode after the 12th, after Advent or Vlogmas and the 12 days of Christmas. I think I usually talk about like what I've been doing with the horses, and frankly, I haven't been doing much. I mentioned in one of the previous segments that the horses had the vet out and also the farrier out, so they got some interaction with that. And there's always training involved. I always do little bits of training every day, especially with Bragi, in terms of I'm trying to prepare him to get in the horse trailer, and it's a very nerve-wracking experience for him, so I'm trying to set it up for him so that it is comfortable and easier. So I've set up this cone game under the advice of my trainer, where I have an orange traffic cone, and I just set it in a spot. So let's have the teacup represent that. So what I do, I'll use this skein of yarn for Bragi since he's brown. So I ask Bragi to touch the cone. He touches it. I say, and he gets a cookie for that. And he's like, oh, well, this is a fun game. So then I move this around, the cone around, so that I just point to it and say, target that. And he's like, okay, I'll target that. So he goes over and he targets it. And then I up the ante a little bit, and I say, okay, well, now I want you to wait there because you like the cone. I want you to wait there, and I'm going to go do things like open the gate, shoo the other horse away. So that's how that works. And what this does is it sets him up for getting in the trailer. He sees his cone. He's like, oh, well, that's a fun game. I like that. I am going to go. It's going to be okay if I am near my cone in the trailer. Now there's a series of minuscule steps to get from touching the cone in his paddock to getting into the horse trailer. And I just take those very slowly. I mean, naturally, in a new place, he is going to be nervous about a cone, especially in a place that makes him nervous. So we're just going to take as long as it takes. I'm in no hurry. Odin is my riding horse, and I am not riding right now. The weather went from like pouring down, like cold, fog, rain, to even colder, and the ground is really hard. So they're both kind of just like walking very carefully on the hard ground. I was actually very surprised that the ground's so hard now because normally, with frost, like a cold snap, it takes a couple days for the ground to harden. But apparently it's been cold enough that the ground was, it's been downright muddy lately. But apparently it's the ground is ready to be frozen. So I don't anticipate doing anything with the horses, or not much more than that kind of training. Just like, here, touch your cone. Here, wait there. Here, touch your cone and move your haunches over. Stuff like that. I don't anticipate doing anything more substantial with the horses until the following weekend, which will be, what's today? Today's the 12th, so the 19th and 20th, I hope to do stuff. So all that to say, and I might do another podcast next weekend. All that to say, we did cancel our trip. We were going to Texas, but because of this cold snap, and the farm just needs extra attention when it's this cold. If it's ordinary rain, I can have a farm sitter take care of my the animals just fine. And we have a friend who house sits the kitties for us. But with the cold snap, and there was a prediction of snow. We didn't get much snow, quite frankly. It was just better to cancel the trip and wait until March when the weather is better. And also, my mom texted this morning and said the wind was blowing 24 miles an hour out of the north. So it's not very pleasant down there either. On that note, thank you for watching. I will wish you a fond farewell, and see you next time. Bye.